Namaste to all the yoga sadhakas. Last video, we had Dr. Meena Ramanathan coming and sharing with us about the effect of breathing from different nostrils. And she mentioned different way or the physiological parameters that can be studied, like reaction time, or also basic vitals like systolic pressure, diastolic pressure, and all of those things. And after that video, many had a question on the reaction time aspect of the video itself. They wanted a little more information about how this reaction time is measured, or what exactly is this reaction time all about, and how does it impact in this current study that she has done. So today we have Dr. Meena Ramanathan again today to explain this particular aspect of the study in little more detail, and also show us how the reaction timer looks like and to explain more about it. Joining her, we also have Dr. Balaji, who is an assistant professor, is going to join us and explain more about that. So before I welcome them, let me take a quick moment to introduce both of them to all of you in case if you have not seen the video. I strongly suggest you to watch this video after the previous video on the similar study that she has done. So for those who have not seen the video, quick introduction about both of them here. Yoga Thilakam Dr. Meena Ramanathan is the admin in charge for yoga for the School of Yoga Therapy of Institute of Salutogenesis and Complementary Medicine at Shri Balaji Vidyapeeth, Pondicherry. Recognized Ph.D. guide, IAYT certified yoga therapist, Joint Secretary for Indian Yoga Association, State Chapter Pondicherry. She is a subject matter expert and task force member for Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, Traditional Knowledge Digital Library Project, Government of India. She is a journal co-editor for Journal of Applied Yoga Studies at Loyola Marymount University, USA. A student of Rishi culture, Ashtanga Yoga Parampara, she strives to empower the lives of Devanga, silver citizens, and transgender population. Dr. Meena has more than 78 scientific papers, 26 abstracts, contributed to 6 chapters in books, 10 copyrights, and 15 compilations to her credit. She is a member of Board of Studies and external expert for various universities, and recipient of many titles and awards, including the most recent ones such as Rejoice AYUSH Excellence Award, Lifetime Achievement Award, Big Female Yogi Award, and Major Dhyan Award for the Best Star Coach. Along with Dr. Meena Ramanathan, we have Dr. Balaji today. So here is the introduction about Dr. Balaji. Dr. Balaji is an assistant professor, School of Yoga Therapy of Institute of Salutogenesis and Complementary Medicine, Shri Balaji Vidyapeeth, Pondicherry. He is a trained medical doctor and practicing yoga since a very young age. Currently pursuing Ph.D. in yoga, he is a master skill trainer under the Skill Council of India. He has currently published 12 scientific research papers in the field of yoga, and he is an examiner for Yoga Certification Board, part of AYUSH Ministry. So with that brief introduction, I welcome both of them today. Namaste to both of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time to spend time to share your knowledge with all of us today.
It's our pleasure to be here. And on behalf of Balaji also, I'm expressing my gratitude for having us here so that we can express a few of the thoughts that we are doing, the work we do at ISCM, which is always, we always consider that a blessing for having had the opportunity to be working at a medical institution and explaining about the yoga therapy, the complementary therapies, especially yoga therapy, which we are part of. So thank you, Vinay, for having us here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Before we go further, I think in the last video, we shared about the effect of different way of breathing from left nostril, right nostril, and all that. And when you are trying to explain the different parameters used to measure, you mentioned about reaction time. And many had questions on what is the significance of reaction time, or what does it convey? And although you mentioned briefly, if you could elaborate it a little bit more about the reaction time aspect of the study itself, it will be great help.
So one is like, thank you all very much for being so inquisitive and for, putting out the questions, which actually makes us, do such videos so that it can spread out more and more people can be included into this. So this, reaction time, as we call it, is an index of how quick your brain can respond. So it's a direct index. So the time lapse between the moment a stimulus is given and how quick your response can be. So the time between the stimulus and the response is measured, and that is the reaction time. Like when you have a prick or when you touch something hot, you withdraw immediately. So the touching something hot is the stimulus, and you withdrawing from it immediately is the response. So the time lapse between that is given. So we have the reaction time apparatus here, which calculates how quickly your brain can process, it can perceive the signal, it has to process, and it has to give the response. So while discussing about it, it looks like a long process. You perceive the sound or the light or whatever it is, the sensory perception, and the brain processes that sense, and then it responds. So the motor sensory response, the lapse, that is measured here with the reaction time, but it is done instantaneously. And we have a reading, as you can see, we get a reading there in milliseconds. So that is how, that quick the response is. So the measure is given by the reaction time apparatus. And this is a direct marker to show how good your performance is, how agile or how alert the individual is, or how quick you can respond to, say, for example, an auditory signal, a visual signal, a visual stimulus. So that is what reaction time is all about. And it is a direct index of your central neuronal processing ability. So the way your central nervous system works. So how does it work, and how quick can it perceive, how quick can it process, how quick can it respond? So it is like, like how we say the survival instinct, the instinct to protect yourself. Say, for example, for sympathetic nervous system, we always say, it is a fight or a flight response. You see a tiger in the forest, and either you have to fight it or you have to run away from it. So for both, you need the sympathetic activation. So how quick can you protect yourself? So the protective reflex is part of the reaction time. If you can respond quicker, it is understood that your protective reflex is very good. But if you're a parasympathetic dominant, it means the response is very a bit slower than what you could expect with the sympathetic dominance. And this is directly related to the pranayama that we were discussing yesterday. The right nostril, right dominant, the left nostril, so the left dominant, or the right in and left out, left in and right out, the different permutation combinations that we were talking. I think Vinayji will be
in the last video. Yes, we have mentioned that. Yes.
Yeah, link to the previous video that we made. So you'll get a detailed idea of what it is all about. So the right initiated breathing, the left initiated breathing, left nostril initiated. So for example, the right nostril initiated breathing is sympathetic dominant. The left nostril initiated breathing is parasympathetic dominant. So for example, the reaction time response is quicker with the sympathetic dominance, which means when you are doing any of the right nostril breathing, the response with the reaction time becomes shorter. Say a normal reaction time value will be something 140 to 160 for the auditory response. But with the sympathetic dominance, it might get a little lower. If you are quicker, which means sympathetic response means you become quicker to respond to the stimulus. And with the parasympathetic dominance, with the Chandra Nadi breathing, what happens is that your response is a little elongated. So the rest and digest mode the relaxation mode means you are completely relaxed and the alertness is a little lower and the clarity of mind is of course there, but the response given would be more, can I say, more pronounced. So it takes a little longer. So the value that you get here is elongated. Say the same 140 to 160, if it is, say for example, 140 milliseconds is the response given with the Surya Nadi, the sympathetic. It would be, say, something around 160 milliseconds in the Chandra Nadi. So the response time is elongated with parasympathetic, the Chandra Nadi, the left nostril initiated breathing. And the same thing is also correlated with your cardiovascular indices that we were talking about. With this sympathetic activation, the blood pressure and the heart rate are slightly above the normal range. And with the parasympathetic, the Chandra Nadi activation, it is slightly, 120 by 80 is the normal range, means it could be like 110 bar 70 or 110 by 75 with the parasympathetic dominance. So if you can understand the adjustments that are happening, so there is a correlation with your nostril that you are breathing with, the brain processing, the heart responding, all these are interrelated, interconnected. So easily, as a non-invasive, recording, you don't need to withdraw blood, which becomes invasive. So as a non-invasive recording, what we can show is how one is the ability to respond. What is your cognitive ability? What is your cognitive efficiency? Say for a student, they need to have better cognition and they need to respond better.
Got it. Understood. Yeah.
A few factors are there, as far as the reaction time goes. Age, gender, and then, for example, the special children with special needs, the intellectual disabilities, the Divyanga, as you were mentioning. We have worked a lot with the autism children. The response in such population is very, very slow. Because the protective reflex, they respond very slow. It is not there, so they respond very, very late. And when we say that 140 to 160 is for the normal range, for children with autism spectrum disorder, it could go as high as 1400 or 1600 milliseconds. So it is so huge. And we have found experimentally that with yoga practices, with a few of the techniques that we made them do, the reaction time came down as much as up to 700. I'm just giving you a rough, detail about this. Which
Understood,
means the attention span is enhanced. So their ability to respond is becoming better with yoga and with the special children. So the processing, the central processing, the ability to process and the ability to respond is becoming better, and which is shown with the reaction time apparatus. So if you can understand how, this is useful, to assess the way your central neuronal, the central nervous system is processing and it is responding.
Totally. I got the complete picture of what is the intention of using the reaction timer. Now you also mentioned about there are two different factors that you measure in the reaction timer. So one is the auditory reaction time and the visual reaction time.
Yes.
Now if you can just take a moment to show us how these things are measured on the timer itself, it will be more clearer actually. So how are these things measured?
So this is the reaction time apparatus here. And Dr. Balaji is going to be giving you a closer view. So how this functions is in the image. So this is the key that we use. We have two keys. One is for the person with right dominance, and the other one is for the person with left dominance. So left hand, right-handed person, we have two keys. So this key is supposed to be kept pressed. And the moment you have the response, you have to respond by removing your hand. So the stimulus is given, you keep the key pressed, stimulus is given and you respond to it, which is recorded and you have a number here. So we take the numbers and 10 such recordings are done for each individual for the auditory, so that we can take the average of it when we are doing the data collection. So 10 times we make them do, before which we have to get the person whom we are going to be recording familiar with the apparatus. They will be working around this and then they will try this out 3-4 times, you know, how to do it and all that. And then we go for the actual recording. So we have the auditory here. There are two different sounds that we record. So one is the click sound, if you can hear. And the other one is the beep sound. So, as I told you, with age, the reaction time becomes less. You respond very slow. And, you know, the ability to hear is also lower. So what we do is, for children with special needs or for senior citizens, we use the beep sound so they can hear it clearly. But for students, you know, college students or people who are of younger age, we use the click sound. So they are more alert. And we have two different visual signals given here. One is the red light. One is the red light and the other one is the green light. If you can see the red light.
We can see slightly. Yeah. It is not focusing on the light itself. Yeah, now it's clear. Yeah. Yeah, we can.
Light and the green light.
True, true.
Okay. So again, the red light is more pronounced. So with special populations, we try to use the red light more. So it would be for, you know, depending on the population, we can go around working on with this. There are references if you want to do. But more what we have done is like the click sound in the study of the nostrils. We have used the click sound with the red signal, the red light for visual, and the auditory would be the click sound. So these are what we have used here. So I'll just show you quickly how the recording is done with the sound. So this is kept pressed and you just hold. Right? So what we need to do is like, I'm just putting it 0. So I'm pressing, yeah. If you can see, I responded immediately to the, you know, the impulse, the sound that I heard, and the value is recorded here. So we will note it down and again cancel it the second time, same thing. So you can see again, we have a new number. So similarly with the red light. Okay, yes. I'm not looking, yes. Not coming? Now show.
Yes, got it.
So usually, you know, the auditory reaction time, the values are lower. The visual reaction times, the values are higher. So I said like 140 to 160 would be generally for the auditory. 160 to 180 would be generally for the visual. For every individual, this is the normal range. So similarly, you know, with the special populations or with the senior citizens, it is going to go higher, the numbers.
Got it.
So yeah. I hope this is clear, right?
Yes, ma'am. That is extremely clear. Now, just to ask a few more questions that we had from the last video, right? So when you measure the reaction time, like you showed now, or when you're measuring the blood pressure itself, right? You're noticing there is a significant change before and after the pranayama practice. Okay, so now the question is like, after measuring it, how long this effect will last? Like, for example, if the blood pressure comes down or it goes up, depending on the pranayama that we are doing or the activation, Surya Nadi, Chandra Nadi. So what exactly, how long this effect stays? If, for example, the blood pressure goes down, how long this will stay like that? So, or the reaction time effect itself, right? How long it will stay?
The exact value I cannot give because we have not done any experiment to say how long the carryover effect is going to be there of this. But the general well-being, I could say, could be carried on, say, throughout, right? I don't want to name a particular period because if it is done regularly, the whole thing is going to be there permanent. If not, it is not going to stay. So maybe like, you have given us a teaser now. We need to think about it and see the follow-up effect and say how long the effect is lasting in a person. But I've heard, our guru, Dr. Ananda, speaking about a study where with hypertensives, they did a study. And while doing the study, intervention, after the intervention for say 8 weeks or so, the BP was very, very normal, and a few of them, even the hypertensive medicine was stopped because their BP was so much under normal. But, like after a month or so, when he met them, it was all back to square one because the practices were not continued by those people. So you need to, monitor these people as a follow-up study. After 10 days, what is happening? After 20 days, if they are doing the practices, what is happening now? If they are not doing the practices, what is happening? So maybe as a follow-up study, we need to take it up. Maybe, you have given us a thought now. We will take it up in future that, to continue as a follow-up study and see how long the effect lasts if they practice, and how long the effect, fades away after, say, 10 days, 20 days. We need to record it and exactly bring it out as a study also, maybe. I'm not really sure.
No, definitely, ma'am. I'll be looking forward for your study on that as well.
Thank you for giving us a thought now to think about.
Thank you, ma'am. And also one last question about the reaction timer. You mentioned about the click sound and the beep sound, which is used for different kind of people, right? Similarly, for the light, also you have a green light and a red light. So is it also red light is used for some kind of people and green light for some kind of people?
Exactly. Because a green light is a little, dimmer when compared to the red light. Red light is like flaring, right? So red light attracts very, very much higher. So the responding ability for people with lower reaction time would be better with the red light. The same populations, the children with special needs, the senior citizen, it is much easier to recognize the red light faster with the red light than the green light. So we would use red light more with such populations and green light more with the, the alert populations like students or college students or normal people. We would use the green light and the click sound.
Got it, ma'am.
It's a permutation combination you can keep exploring. The click sound with the red light, the click sound with the green light, the beep sound with the red. You can go on and on and on. You can just keep working, and with the different things, you can keep correlating what is happening with the sympathetic with the right and the click sound or the red sound. Just go ahead and lots of thoughts coming up now. Lots.
Very true. And it's such a non-invasive way of studying the internal physiology. It is such a nice, easy way to do as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing this information. Thank you for joining us today. And those who have not watched the video, I would really urge you to watch that video. You can find the link in the description below. And also, please, if you like the video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and share it with as many people as possible. And if you have any questions, you can always comment the questions in the comment box. So we will just see the comments, and if any follow-up videos are required to give you more clarity, we'll definitely make an attempt to share that information as well with you. So thank you so much for joining, all of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Vinayji, for this opportunity to be able to, meet a few of the yoga enthusiasts. And I would like to take this moment to thank Dr. Balaji also for,
Yes.
facilitating that,
Yes.
showing it, and then people can get a visual idea as to what it is and how it functions. So thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you for both of you. Thank you.